Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Caroline Kamau. We'll continue with the conversation on the COVID-19. It's a disease that was first reported in Wuhan, China last year. Right now we are at over 2.4 million people globally. The disease is highly infectious, and today we will be talking to a virologist in the country, Professor Omu Anzala. He's one of the lead virologists and immunologists in the country. He'll shed more light on this virus. Dr. Thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure.
All right, so we'll get right into it. The coronavirus and its resemblance, for example, to SARS and to MERS. These are diseases that were there in early 2000, but they were dealt with very quickly. What is so different about COVID-19, and why is the rate of infection very, very high?
The coronaviruses are not new. These are viruses that occur in humans, because there are 4 human coronaviruses. If you include SARS that occurred in 2002, and if you include MERS that occurred in 2003, then we are saying there are 6 human coronaviruses. And then the wild animals have a lot of other coronaviruses. The difference between this virus, coronavirus now, and the human coronaviruses, the 4 common human coronaviruses, and SARS and MERS, is that this particular one is much more infectious than previously seen with the other 2. It's much, much more infectious. Number 2, it also causes more severe disease among a segment of population, and hence the difference between this particular coronavirus and the 6 coronaviruses that we already know that cause problems in humans.
Why would you say it's more infectious? What is it about this virus?
It is more infectious because, for one, we believe the way it is spread. For one, it's spread through a droplet infection. But it is also spread by the droplets landing on the surfaces, and these viruses surviving on the surfaces for a slightly longer time. So that not only are you exposed through a droplet infection from somebody who is infected, but you are also exposed by touching surfaces that are contaminated by these droplets and touching your face or your eyes. So it has all these modalities of infection. And what we know now is that it can exist on surfaces for 2 to 3 hours or even 6 hours, hence making it more contagious. Yes.
We've heard, of course, from doctors the aggression this virus has, especially on the elderly.
Yes.
And of course, explanations around that has been sometimes these people have conditions that they're dealing with.
Yeah.
However, just make us understand what happens to a human body, the immune system of a human body, as we grow older, so that then they become more susceptible to this disease.
Actually, there are 2 aspects. And it is a word that we use in science called immunosenescence. Immunosenescence means aging of the immune system. As we grow older, the immune system ages as well. And as the immune system ages, it also becomes weaker and weaker in terms of its ability to respond to infections, inability to respond to tumors. That is number 1. Number 2, comorbidities. These are infections that come to us, like diabetes, like hypertension, all right? Things of that nature also happen to weaken the immune system. So this virus seems to thrive in those individuals who are elderly because of the weak immune system. But at the same time, those who have comorbidities, because these comorbidities, the hypertension, the diabetes, and all these other conditions also weaken the immune system. And that's why we see those who are passing away tend to be the elderly, and if they are young, tend to be those who have all these other surrounding conditions.
So is there anything that an older person can do to boost the immune system?
Yes, one thing is that what we are now recommending is that ensure that people in that age bracket are protected. So if they live in a home for the elderly, that home should totally be locked out from normal individuals. They should all ensure they observe distancing. They should all sanitize. The place should totally be clean. But at the same time, let them ensure that their comorbidities are taken care of properly. If it's hypertension, it's managed. If it is diabetes, it is managed. And if it is any of these conditions are properly managed. But the whole issue is to ensure that they are totally prevented from getting what? Getting infected. Yes.
Let's get into the vaccine that people feel, or the treatment that people feel is taking a little longer than they would hope to treat this COVID-19. However, in the country, much as we have 281 cases as of yesterday, we have several people who have recovered as well. So the question being, there's no vaccine, there's no treatment, but we are recording recovery.
Yes.
What is happening now?
Actually, that is exactly how viruses occur. Majority of viruses that we get infected with, usually our immune system, when it's up and working properly, majority of us recover. We get infected with measles, we recover. We get infected with hepatitis B, we recover. We get infected with hepatitis C, we recover. We might develop mild symptoms where you might be given painkillers and maybe fluids. But what these are doing is they are aiding the immune system to respond and get rid of the virus. So recovery is actually a very good thing, because recovery also begins to teach the scientist how the immune system reacted to get rid of the virus to lead to that recovery. And that is the information that is used to then develop a vaccine. Realize that the previous 6 coronaviruses, there is no treatment. Realize also for the 6 coronaviruses, there is no vaccine. This particular coronavirus has only been with us for a period of what? Of 4 or 5 months. So when I hear people saying it's taking too long, I'm surprised, because from the time the vaccine was, from the time the virus was isolated, within 2 months, a test was developed to be able to test and say this person is infected or not. All right? That was unprecedented. A period of only what? 2 months. Now we are looking at various drugs that have been said could work. Clinical trials are being done. We are also looking at vaccines. Okay? Research and development is going on. So it has only been 3 months. What we can actually say is that let's observe the measures that have been put in place, so that we give ourselves time to find a proper treatment, and also give ourselves time to actually find a vaccine. I
think, Daktari, if I could just add into that, I know the frustration of most Kenyans, the frustration of people in Nairobi, for example, is the guidelines that have been issued. Okay? We are told to stay at home. Social distance. These are things that it's a new normal, it's being called.
Completely.
So I think this is the frustration of most Kenyans. But 4 months is too long for most Kenyans. How much longer can we?
I wish I knew. I totally wish I knew how long it's going to take for us to find all these things. But look at China. China is never the same. All right? From the time COVID started in last year up to now, even when they are beginning to say they are opening up Wuhan, China is not going to be the same. And I can assure you now that the world is not going to be the same again. So the whole idea now is that let us observe the measures that have been put in place very critically, okay, as we try to understand this virus very, very well. All right? So those measures will continue. They are not easy for anyone. Don't even think that those of us who are scientists think that those measures are easy. They are difficult for all of us. Washing hands, social distancing, sanity, putting on masks, and you have no idea whether it is for 2 weeks or for 3 months or for 6 months. So what I can say is that let's just observe those, and let's give the scientists and the communities and those who are involved in looking for cure, looking for vaccines, time to really work very, very hard to ensure that it doesn't take much longer than it has already taken.
So let's just adjust to...
Totally. As you've said, it's a new normal. All right? And things don't change things don't just change. Things change for a reason. So we are changing because, as I would say, we are at war. And we know the enemy, but we don't know the enemy very well. Very well. All right? That is actually the position we find ourselves in.
Professor, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, sir.
That's Professor Omu Anzela, one of the lead virologists and immunologists here in the country, saying that we know the enemy, but we do not know the enemy very well. The enemy might be here for a little longer, so let's just adjust accordingly and be patient as the scientists in the country and of course across the world try to figure out the vaccine, the treatment for this virus. My name is Caroline Kamau. Back to you in the studio.